Mark Lewis Johnson Sr. here, and welcome to another edition of the Blue Jacket Book Review. Today's book is entitled Evangelism in the Early Church. This is by Michael Green. Now, some of you are very familiar with Michael Green, particularly if you remember 30 Years That Changed the Church. That was a book that he wrote, and he took a look at the early church. Well, today he's taking another look at the early church, but he's really gearing in and paying close attention to evangelism. Now, the question for me is, why? Why is Michael Green interested in evangelism? Here's why. Because he believes that most evangelists are not very interested in theology. And most theologians are not very interested in evangelism. It's like two separate worlds going on here. And he was disappointed with that reality and discovered that in order to resolve this, he says one of the greatest needs of the modern church is for those who evangelize to improve their theological understanding, and for those who are theologically competent to come out of their ivory tower and evangelize. So he's looking at the evangelism group and he's saying, you guys need some more theology. He's looking at the theological group and says, you guys need more evangelism. Let's switch places, because he does believe that those individuals who are theologically sound and trained should have the passion and the fortitude enough to want to evangelize. And those individuals who are evangelical and evangelistic in their efforts, they should want to learn about theology so they can explore more things about the Lord and help them to evangelize as well. So Green's philosophy for this balance found footing by examining the early Christians. Now that's going to be key here with Paul and John in the first century, Justin and Origen in the second century. Green marveled at the intelligence and the prowess of the early Christians. He says, these evangelistic individuals knew a lot about theology. And if you think about it, that's pretty true, because Paul was an evangelist and no one would question his evangelism, and no one would question Paul's theology as well. So you see, it's a part of it. He argued that neither the strategy nor the tactic of the first century Christians were particularly remarkable. What was remarkable, however, was their conviction, their passion, and their determination. And he's saying that came from an understanding of who God is and what he's called them to do as well. Historically, he looks at, begin to examine the early church and looked at Rome's political influence and the impact on the region, particularly the foundation for spreading the gospel through the region. Theologically, he takes a look. So not only historically, he looks theologically. He's not only centered attention on the death, burial, resurrection of Jesus Christ, but he wants to demonstrate how the theology informed the living, how they informed how they interact with each other, how they interacted with those who were lost, how they made decisions based on their theology. In a sense, Green did not think of theology in isolation, but in partnership with practice to present a complete theological picture. So it's almost as if Green is saying, hey, listen, when we think about the early church and you think about their theology, nothing really overwhelming here, but they were able to take their theology and match it to the practice. Oftentimes you have the theologians in this corner, the evangelists in this corner. He's saying that's not a clear picture of what theology is all about. It's the marrying of the two that really makes the difference as well. So that partnership completes the theological picture. By highlighting the importance of the Hellenistic society, seeing that the faith and hearing of the faith, Green married the two as an apologetic tool for winning souls for Jesus Christ. You need both if you're going to win souls for Jesus Christ. He calls it an apologetic tool. When you take theology and you take practice and you pull them together, he calls them then an apologetic tool. And it's something that can be used for lifting the hearts and minds of individuals to accept Jesus Christ. So when you think through what he means when he deals with evangelism in the early church, he's saying they got it right. And they're using practice and theology as an apologetic tool in order to win souls for Jesus Christ. That's evangelism in the early church. And when you read this book, you'll see that in a lot of ways through history, through the Bible, and also theologically as well. All right, I'm Dr. Mark Lewis Johnson Sr. Got any questions on this? Don't hesitate to give me an email at info@marklewisjohnson.com. If you have other books you'd like to see, check us out at www.marklewisjohnson.com. There you'll find about 68 to 70 books that we reviewed over the course of time. May it be a blessing to you and give you more insights as you read. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to great things that are yet to come. And in the meantime, may God bless you and keep you in his perfect peace.